I see them identifying with Trump.
Hey man, did Trump offer you $3 million to perform at his rally in New York?
Trump didn't call me, but someone from them reached out to the people that had around him. It was like that.
Didn't they take Mini Man after you got shot? Mini Man, I was like,
yeah, I didn't mind
that thing.
That thing jumped up 250%. I didn't mind that.
So you were one of those, take it down.
No.
I heard that.
The producer was like, take it down. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
You might say, well, who are they utilizing? Who are they having push stuff out? Would you believe rapper 50 Cent? Now, 50 Cent just signed a 45-year lease agreement for his studio buildings in Shreveport, Louisiana. This is the video Gary sent me that they have been sending around with 50 Cent backing one of these constitutional amendments. I want y'all to listen.
This is Curtis James Jackson. You might know me as 50 Cent. I have a special message for the people of Louisiana. As you may have heard, I'm now a proud Louisiana property and business owner working hard to bring film and television industry back to Louisiana. I'm working because I have an opportunity to use my influence and make real change in the communities. I want to see more jobs and prosperity in the state of Louisiana. This is why I support the Amendment 2 on your ballot this Saturday. You should too. Don't let anyone confuse you about the Amendment 2. It gives teachers permanent pay raise. It doubles senior citizens tax deduction. This is all good stuff. Voting in favor of the Amendment 2 makes common sense. And this is a bipartisan effort. Every Louisiana State Senate Democrat voted to get the Amendment 2 on the ballot. This one is about the people coming together. This is Curtis James Jackson. You might know me as 50 Cent.
Okay.
I have a special message.
All right, well, again, 50 Cent just showed up in Louisiana very recently. Let's talk to somebody who was a lifelong resident of Louisiana, activist Gary Chambers Jr. So, Gary, you sent me that this morning. So you heard 50 Cent there talking about Amendment 2. This is from the Power Coalition. They say this amendment would change some of Louisiana's rules about taxes, government spending, and teachers' pay. It is a grab bag of changes, but at its core, it cuts funding for early, special, and K through 12 education, as well as roads and infrastructure maintenance. Explain.
Okay, let me explain, because that is not an accurate description of what the amendment does.
Of our tax code.
All right, before this activist talks, I just want your initial reaction to 50's a businessman. Like they said, he signed that 45-year lease. So he's backing the thing that is going to be economically viable for the entire region in terms of tax breaks, jobs, et cetera. We got the liberal media, sending Roland Martin after him, basically because it's anti-Trump in general. And this showing that the Democrats are anti-business and anti-things that actually, 50 Cent builds this studio. That's going to be jobs, et cetera. So what's your take on... It's no coincidence they sent Roland Martin after 50.
So who's take? Mine or Tito's?
Oh, you first, so.
Okay, so what wasn't mentioned there is that, I know that there was the permanent increase in salaries by teachers, but, they were going to reduce income tax from, I want to say maybe about like 4.5% to maybe about like 3.75, along with, there being property tax exemptions for veterans and their spouses, income tax deduction for individuals over 65, property tax exemptions for religious nonprofit organizations. They were going to have sales tax exemptions on food, utilities, and prescription drugs. And, what I don't understand is, like, this is more money in the pockets of your everyday person, especially for a state that's like considered the second poorest state in the union outside of Mississippi. You know what I mean? And you have a guy who's like, hey, I'm going to take a risk on, Louisiana. I believe in the Pelican State and the people of Louisiana to, try to do something. And you're doing things to stall business and growth and, all that stuff. And because it's a policy, although great, you know what I mean? Because, they're so locked in on MAGA, they're not even really thinking of the bigger picture. And I hope their voters, later on kind of wise up. So my thoughts is that, these people might have been running campaigns or, playing games and stuff like that, to confuse the people down there in Louisiana, so using scare tactics and things like that. So this is an indicator that we're in for a fight and not to let up. I know a lot of people was like, okay, we won a national election, but you still have state, local, and these sort of congressional elections from the Senate and the representative sides that, this is a sign not to let up. You know what I mean? Otherwise, we're going to get back to the bullshit that we had. I'll land my plane there.
My nigga.
Yo, you hit it on all cylinders. We can go out with regard to the veterans, but more so, and also more so in particular, like the point I was making also is that this the Democratic shills, them using the shills, but their policy in general is that there is no policy. It's and they care nothing for actual policy or legislation that puts money and jobs into the hands of everyday working people, middle class and such, blacks in particular. And if any black person goes against, is in favor of any legislation or policy that doesn't coincide with their overall agenda, they send their dogs after them. Tito, what say you?
First of all, I think they go find a way to get rid of 50. That's the first thing I'm gonna say right off the top. Second of all, Democrats are looking at the bigger picture. See, the Democratic Party is and has always been about controlling niggas, right? The only thing that changed is when it was too many cameras running, they had to change to the soft shoe approach. And since they knew that the Communist Party had been courting niggas for the longest, that's when they absorbed the Communist Party is in the late 60s, right? So they are looking at the bigger picture because this what 50 is doing is something that might bring more self-determination to black people, and that's what they can't afford. So they are looking at the bigger picture. But cutting right down to the bone of this shit, you would never ever see a Democrat in favor of anything that cuts taxes. They can't let taxes get cut because the more you cut taxes, the less government workers you can afford. And the Democratic Party has always been about expanding the government with employees so they can have more people that's loyal to the government. Because if they didn't have government employees, if they couldn't give out patrons jobs, they wouldn't even exist anymore. The Democratic Party might have been on the way out. They might have been out on the way out in the 30s, which is why they expanded the government dramatically during the Roosevelt administration.
No, spot on. To what Roland Martin calls him, he's not like a member of Chamber of Commerce. He's not the local politician, any type of constituent. I want you to pay attention to the phraseology.
To help people like 50 Cent. Out-of-state business owners are going to be able to get more money in tax deductions in order to pay for this. People who are working class folks.
I can't imagine, listen to this man talk. He's against businesses moving to the state. He's against businesses moving to the state. He's against, that's a bad thing. Oh, out-of-state business people like 50 Cent, they're coming to our state, they're creating jobs. It's so terrible. Yo, wow. Wow. That's all I got to say at this point.
Teachers, bus drivers, people who are auto mechanics, people who are people that work in restaurants. You're going to end up paying more in taxes because they're taxing more things in sales taxes. Teachers, this is a stipend that they're going to make permanent. It is not a raise. Teachers are not going to get any additional money in their pay. And a matter of fact, because of this,
it is a raise, right? If a stipend is not permanent and then you make it permanent, that's a raise, because a stipend is not a part of your base pay, right? That's something that you may or may not get. You don't know, but now you do know, right? That, hey, this is now permanent. That's a pay raise. Again, I love how these people try to play the semantics game to play down what, in my opinion, I think is good, right? An amendment that Louisiana should support. Now, I don't live in Louisiana, so it's not up to me. But if I did live in Louisiana, right? Yeah, these are things that I would want. I would want to make the state more business friendly to attract industry to the state so that the state can grow and people can have more jobs and earnings can go up, wages can go up, right?
Up recently, Roland, in Baton Rouge, in the last 20 years, there's not been a single legislative race where 50% of the people showed up to vote. So it's telling me that a senator supported this is not telling me that this is what the people of the state of Louisiana support. Also, right now, 37% of turnout in the state of Louisiana is black. If 12 to 15% of white people agree with what black voters are saying right now in this state, we end up defeating the governor and sending a message to him and the state legislature that you got to do better than this. The other thing is, we don't need confusion. We're telling people to vote no on all four, to have 50 come in and say voting yes on two. That's entering in confusion to a simple message. No on.
He said the quiet part out loud.
On all four, because they're all bad for the people of Louisiana.
Wow.
Did the Power Coalition, did you or any others, did 50 Cent reach out to black activists?
Black activists, that was the key word I was listening for.
To talk to them about any of this?
I've never had a conversation with 50. I reached out to you. I reached out to some other folks on the national level who I felt may have a relationship with the brother, because look, you may not know, okay? I'm trying to give the brother the benefit of the doubt. 50, you may not understand how this will hurt working class people, how this is going to hurt poor people. You may not have read the legislation because it's such a complicated piece of legislation that
we're going to kill it right there. Saul, that was the two things. One, he said the quiet part out loud. We told everybody to vote against it. Here you come telling them that they got a choice to vote about something else. That's confusion. Then Roland said, did 50 reach out to any black activists? He reached out to the governor and everybody. You see what I'm saying? They mad that he didn't check in and that they ain't get they palms greased.
Yeah, it's political game banging. It's gatekeeping, right? You know, that's what, you know, they're upset about. I mean, you know, be consistent with it. If we're talking about celebrities, right? What they're starting to see is the power, the flexing of our muscle with, you know, people who are actually doing what they need to do as far as getting involved with, you know, the sort of public sphere and, you know, making things happen. Did he say anything about Tyler Perry in the studios in Atlanta? Right? Nobody says anything about that. Nobody relegates them to just celebrities and stuff like that. Right? So when it comes to us, it's just, you know, rap on a mic or bounce a ball. The legislation is too complicated, or this, that, and the third, as if, you know, people are just fucking stupid. If you were to look up labor economics and you look at the supply and demand chart, and you talk about how many workers in the industry, you will find a sort of concept called deadweight loss, meaning that the market isn't performing the most efficient as it should, right? Meaning that the more that there's taxes, the less workers are going to be in the pool there. And not only that they're going to be the less workers because of overhead costs, you're also going to have lower salaries or whatnot, and less money in the pocket. So, and then not only just quote unquote confusion, right? They're using outright lies. This is why people need to be a little more savvy when it comes to policy, they'll be able to see through all that that jive and all that bullshit. So that's my take on that. I'll lay my plane there.
We'll play. Tito, what you got for me? Same line of questioning.
Man, the sad part is that step and fetch activist that you had on. Mm-hmm. More people are gonna believe him. Do you know that I have to explain to at least 3 people a week, multiple times a week, that Trump and Elon Musk cannot take away Social Security? I have to keep explaining to them over and over again. Social Security is an act. It's a law that was voted into being by Congress and then ratified into law by the Senate. No president or even somebody assisting the president, a cabinet member, can just unilaterally take away Social Security. But people are gonna keep believing the lies. But yeah, that a lot. These Democrats got to realize that way of doing business is going away, man. And that, especially when it comes to these black male celebrities, they not doing that shit no more. A lot of them, Trick Daddy, a lot of these guys not doing that shit no more. You seen, young rappers endorsing Trump. At least a few people are starting to see through the bullshit, but especially so-called black men, because it's like obvious as the sun in the sky that they ain't got shit for you. They ain't got no policy for you. Hell, they ain't even got no respect for you. So, I mean, it's only gonna get worse when it comes to as we get closer to the midterms. I want y'all to mark my words. It's only going to get worse, this relationship that Democrats have with straight men and straight black men. And you go see more and more and more media attacks on straight black men. That ridiculous black men shit that they was talking on Review, that's gonna be that shit is gonna become tepid compared to what you go see closer to the midterms. I promise you.
No, I think you're spot on, and I think you're correct about that also. We're already seeing some of the ramping up of it now, but some of the initial stuff is they're pushing. The first wave has been like this. The feminization of the black man thing. You're seeing the uptake in social media, just like they made that the black man taking his son to the prom in like the tuxedo dress and now everyone's mimicking. It's a trend now on TikTok. That's all manufactured. So that's the first wave. There'll be more after that. But in particular to what both you and Saul were saying, aside from 50 Cent actually from a financial standpoint back in this bill, the other thing that they put Roland on this immediately is just the perception part that 50 Cent is vocally supporting a MAGA based agenda, and him actually saying the word MAGA and them being able to use that spot of 50 Cent and use it to fundraise and to actually push a piece of legislation. 50 being a trendsetter, you understand what I'm saying? They're afraid that this is going to put more momentum. Go ahead.
Well, hold on. So I'm reading what you got right here, and I'm looking at the end of it when they saying cutting funding for public roads. How in the hell is it that they gas tax don't cover funding for public roads? That's the first question. And as to this nigga right here, when he was talking about they just gonna charge higher tax on other things, this show you how dumb niggas are.
Yeah, it's complete misinformation.
Yeah, if that is what happens, good. That would mean that rich people will pay more because they buy more shit. If they go charge higher sales tax on shit to compensate for the fact of not having an income tax, good. Because it's the rich person that's going there and buying the fucking Lamborghini Gallardo, not you.
Yes, sir. Yo, Hoop, I know you caught the tail end of this one, but let me give you, I'll frame it for you real quick. 50 is, 50's opening that studio in Shreveport, Louisiana. So he's actually backing a piece of GOP legislation that is basically going to bring business to Louisiana, increase pay for some local teachers, as well as various tax benefits, etc., etc. 50 did a voiced ad basically for the GOP, and that they sicked Roland Martin on him right away. And then this is some local black activist, basically one of their shills down in Louisiana, that Roland brought on to buttress his argument and to like sideways attack 50. And we're using this as an example of one, more black celebrities starting to echo some of the talking points from the black manosphere and have some of our political stances, and like clockwork, the liberal black media attacking them and trying to, and just like the activist dude said it himself, he said, we already told everybody to vote against this. They don't need to know what's in the bill. Now here, 50 down here making ads and everything, and it's confusing to people. You know what I'm saying? It's going against how he said the quiet part out loud. What say you, sir? Just of the broad strokes.
Actually produce some shit out there and actually put some capital into Louisiana. So now you're gonna meet the gatekeepers. And now you gotta play a different game with them motherfuckers. And so listen, man, in real life, I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So Roland Martin is my fraternity brother. And he also went to the sister school, which is Texas A&M. I went to Prairie View A&M, which is the black school in the same system, right? So I'm familiar with a lot of the circles that Roland is. Roland is the final boss gatekeeper of black interest, and it's embarrassing, man. It's almost like a rubric now. With Roland, like you know his game. Like he has no solutions for you. He has no real stake beside promoting liberal interest or democratic interest for that matter. So it's like a rubric now. If Roland against it, like I'm for it on everything. Everything. He's wrong. He's obtuse, and he just basically has this vested interest, as we know, because you know the Kamala Harris campaign put $300K in his production company, right, to just promote the same old shit. So 50 Cent is coming again, going back to him with his navigation abilities, that he know how to make money. He knows how to farm money out, and he's a bully like you can't bully. And I think Roland's gonna find that out, you know, down the line, because he has the foresight that a lot of hood niggas don't have, but he has a lot of business acumen too. Because I remember about 5 years ago, he moved to Houston. He pretty much did the similar, a similar move where he can navigate in all rooms. He can promote his interests. He make money. Everybody make money around him, and he moves on. And this is what he's doing for Louisiana, man. And so, and the reality of it is this: Roland Martin don't give a shit about Louisiana, bro. He don't give a shit about Louisiana. So all this is just hot air, bro. This peacocking shit he's doing. And 50, the good thing about what he's doing is Roland strike while the iron's hot. He gonna hit it and he gonna quit it. He gonna get to the next issue, a la your boy Jesse Jackson, a la your boy what's the other one? Al Sharpton. That's all Roland Martin effectively is. So man, Fifth gonna do his thing and watch 5 years down the line, once he has his major production studio, like you mentioned, Tyler Perry. All this shit is like what I call 48-14 material, which is for 48 hours it's hot, then maybe look at it. After 14 days, if it's still hot, then it may be something. This is gonna fall out on the 48-14 rule. Watch.
My nigga.
This is the second time you done came in here hot, Hoop.
Hey, man.
More people inventing useful things, like Mr. Bobby Ashimura, who wins our Max Headroom Product of the Month award for coming up with a little attachment you plug into your TV, and it warns you that the commercial break is coming by automatically switching off your set for 5 seconds. And here to demonstrate it for us is Mr. Ashimura himself.